Welcome back to the Everyman Guys.
Who are you?
I'm Jim.
I'm Will.
I'm Ian.
I'm Jake. That's Jim.
And this is the Everyman Guys. We are back. We took a week off, but we are back.
It feels so good to be back, and we were away for personal reasons.
For personal reasons. For personal family matters. But we're back, and that's all that matters. But you know what stinks, though? A lot happened.
I know.
Over the week
I
that
know.
we were away.
I know. Unfortunately.
Oh, unfortunately.
But we're here, so this is why you're here.
I know, and thankfully during the week we were away, we reached our first video of over 1,000.
1,000, and
Yeah.
that's a real.
Can I
hold on.
get an applause?
I think 11 or 12 subscribers. in
Yeah.
that week.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
It's really cool because it's like little milestones, you know? Celebrating the little things at this point. Jim, what are we talking about today? Round them off. Let's hear it.
First of all, Shohei Ohtani
That's one.
just signed a contract with the Dodgers, and we're still not sure if anyone could count that high.
I'm at the point where I believe that he just like took a giant suction tube,
Yes.
put it over the United States, and just sucked
All
all
the
the
money.
money.
Just
out.
saying.
I have less money after it.
By the time
Number two.
from the second we started this podcast, like started recording till now, he's probably already made like $60.
I know,
That's
right?
fair.
More than that.
Number
The
two.
Flyers have been good.
Yes.
Good. The Flyers have been good.
Number three.
The team in Philly that plays football.
Stop. Number four.
The college football playoffs are set. They're here. They're happening. And there are
Ian, settle down.
opinions.
Settle down.
Number one.
Settle
Number
down.
one.
All I have to say right now for you is hook 'em, baby!
Yeah.
All right.
There's so much to talk about. Number five, and the last
To
thing.
end it out, we are going to be ranking the top.
Is this becoming a
trophies
theme?
in
Are we going to start doing
sports.
top fives as
Yes.
our last?
Top
We
five.
all know.
Because
We all
everyone
know.
loves that.
We all know
I
what's
mean,
number one.
We do.
In our hearts, in our minds.
Guys,
Well, can you take it away
Guys,
with your
do you think
Ohtani
I
stuff?
can take it away with
You
this
can take it
whole
away.
Ohtani situation?
Take
So,
it away.
I'm gonna pretend that this is my iPad.
yeah.
Yes.
So because we can't grasp just how much
This is his contract.
that's Jake. Jake is the contract. You can't grasp it.
You can't grasp it.
Here's a few comparisons, just so that you can wrap your head around this. LeBron James, arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, has made $482 million in his entire professional NBA career.
Just from basketball, right?
Just from basketball.
Yeah.
In his
Strictly
entire NBA career. Now,
20+ years.
Ohtani, obviously, $700 million in just 10 years, and that's not even counting how many years he's already played. The Oakland Athletics, which, Jim, credit to you because you told me this the other day, so I'm giving credit where credit is due. The Oakland Athletics' entire team combined will make less in 1 year than Ohtani will make in 1 year.
That's crazy.
$62 million for the entire Oakland A's and $70 million. For
Mr. Ohtani will be making $2 per second, $3,000 roughly per minute, roughly $180,000 per hour, and we're talking per game, and $432,000 per game. The previous highest contract was Lionel Messi at $674 million for 5 years. Now that's absurd because
That
if
But
you-
he is a soccer
Crazy.
guy,
I know,
and
I know,
Soccer
I know.
contracts are like.
Soccer contracts are
but
like that.
it is one contract.
Wasn't it?
It was for Barcelona.
No, but I mean Mbappe. Wasn't it like 1 year for?
$1 billion.
No, I think
It
Yeah.
could have been.
But
right?
that was for
That's
the.
a could
Wait,
have
I
been.
thought
That
it
is-
was,
that's
I thought
in
it was
Saudi
3 years,
Arabia,
700
so.
million.
So now comparisons in terms of hitters, in hitters and pitchers. Previous highest paid hitter was Aaron Judge, who was making $40 million per year. The previous highest paid pitcher was Max Scherzer, and I forget who the other guy was, but he was
Justin
making
Verlander.
at $43 million per year.
That was Scherzer.
Scherzer,
But then
and
Verlander,
Verlander both were the
very
same.
next year.
And then the last stat that I have is that Patrick Mahomes, who is the best quarterback in football, signed for $503 million for 10 years. So take that plus $200 million, and that's what Ohtani is making in 10 years.
The weird thing.
And you don't realize how much that extra 200 million.
I know. That's
Yeah.
why I had it in there, because you look at it and you're like, oh, that's pretty close, but it's not.
I know.
It's
when
not
you
at all.
actually start to think about just $1 million. It's crazy. And then you go to 7.
Now,
But the weird
700
thing is, ever since after that contract, I feel like I look more like Ohtani. So I might just make people think that I'm Ohtani,
And then
Well, I
so
think-
that I can just have this.
well, I think
contract.
this episode we should be trying to convince everyone watching to pick up your baseball bat and baseball glove.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just saying,
But-
he's getting paid like $400 million as a hitter and $300 million as a pitcher.
He's getting paid more than the highest paid hitter and more than the highest paid pitcher.
Aaron
Now-
Judge,
now-
Aaron
The
Judge,
MLB.
Now, sorry, go ahead.
Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole combined don't even make as much as Ohtani.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say: is there's going to be a lot of people, and we know a lot of them, who are going to say that is unbelievably disgusting, and no one deserves that amount of money. Blah, blah. And whatever you want to say, like whatever. But let's just look. We're a sports podcast. Let's look at it in sports terms. This isn't ridiculous.
It's. Do you want to
Listen,
know why it's not
For
ridiculous,
a
Jim?
human being, it's ridiculous.
Yes,
But
human-wise.
based on the other contracts
got
that
some
have been
stats
giving out
for
in
you.
sports.
Stat it.
I have
Stat me.
because what you're about to say, I
Is
have
that-
the actual stats
Do it.
because I know what you're gonna say.
Yes.
Now this is from USA Today, so I just given again credit where credit is due. His OPS. Now this was top 5. I'll start off with. Ohtani has put together arguably the 3 greatest consecutive seasons in Major League history, winning the MVP in 2021 and 23 and finishing second in 22. And a look at his rankings among all hitters and pitchers since 2021.
And just a note on 2022, like he should have won it, but you could give him to him every year. It's a LeBron thing.
Correct.
Where
Correct.
Aaron Judge just broke the record, so they gave it to Aaron Judge. But
Correct.
he could have won it
Yeah.
in 2022.
Now, since 2021, he has been top 5 in home runs.
As a pitcher,
As a pitcher.
that's what I
His-
can't imagine. Like, what if Bryce Harper was pitching
I know.
as one of the most dominant pitchers?
His,
Well,
go ahead.
it would be,
I've been talking
who's
for a while,
number
so go
who's
ahead.
number 3 on this list is Schwarber. Schwarber hit 1 home run more than him in the
Can I
past
say something
5
real
years.
quick?
And it'd be like Schwarber going out there pitching. And he can't even play the field.
Bryce Harper had like the biggest and most disgusting contract of all time.
Uh-huh.
If you doubled it, so gave him 26 years, you still wouldn't reach Ohtani's contract in 10 years.
I know. It's crazy.
So OPS, which no one really ever knew what that meant.
It's on
just so
base
you're
plus
aware, it's
slugging.
on base plus slugging. He was second to Aaron Judge, okay, as a pitcher. Extra base hits, second to Matt Olson as a pitcher. Pitching, he was second to Blake
The
Snell.
Cy Young winner.
Walks and hits per inning, 1.05.
Which is disgusting.
Now, that's all the stats I have. Again, you can read that on USA Today. That is just absolutely.
His ERA is sub 3 as one of the best hitters in baseball. Sub 3.
Like, I don't know, like, if you can justify anything in terms, like you said,
Wheeler is our ace, and he is plus 3.
and like you said, like, he's getting paid that for a reason.
And-
And those are the reasons. If you're looking for reasons why, it's because he's a top hitter in the league, and we're talking like top 2, top 3.
Yeah.
And what are we talking?
The-
Top 5 pitcher in the league?
Top
Definitely.
3.
Top 3 pitcher.
And you
in the
gotta
league.
realize, like, he's putting in the work that Bryce Harper and Trey Turner do for batting, and he's also putting in the work that Jacob DeGrom does for pitching.
Here's what's crazy is too. It's not even a big deal, but like he's not one of these guys. Like there are a lot of say what's his Darvish doesn't throw very hard, but he throws a lot of like spinning stuff. That's not Ohtani. Ohtani's a strikeout guy.
Yeah.
He has 97, 98 miles an hour fastballs. And cranks 45 home runs a year.
And it's
then-
also it's not like
11.4 strikeouts per 9.
it's not like it's just Javi Baez coming in and getting some 11-year billion-dollar contract.
Yeah.
Like, it's Shohei Ohtani. Like you know for a
Yes.
fact that it'll end up being worth it.
The-
Somehow,
the
game-
somehow $700 million.
You know,
will be worth
Yeah,
it.
even if he doesn't pitch for the next 2 years, it'll still be worth it.
Even based on the fact that they're making this money right back.
yeah. I know that's what I
Jersey
mean.
sales, people going to the games.
Yeah.
All of
He's
Japan
gonna,
Especially
I was
the
gonna
Dodgers.
say,
is
he's
going to
gonna bring the entire Asian community to
It's-
the Dodgers.
Yeah, especially
And
the
it's
Dodgers. Like they're already going to be
And
bringing
you-
people
and
in
they're-
And
every
every
time.
brand that sponsors him too.
Yeah.
Oh my
Also,
gosh!
they
yeah,
said the
he's
Dodgers
like the face
like,
of New
I think
Balance.
they're like their beer sales, like they'll have because
Yeah.
they're like 99 cents an ounce,
Oh
which
my
is like
gosh!
30 cents higher than everyone else.
It's disgusting.
So it's like
crazy.
they can afford to do that.
Moderator Jeff had a point.
I was gonna say that we gotta remember he's getting 10 years, 700 million, and he has just got Tommy John, so he might not be pitching for 2 years. So that's
Yeah.
that much money, and you don't know when he's coming back to pitch.
Yeah, but he comes back to pitch, and he's this dominant. Like that's my thing with a lot of people is they're saying, oh, you know what? He's definitely coming back to pitch because there's no way they've talked to him. There's no way they didn't talk to him
Do
and
you
say, hey,
think-
where are you at right now?
He also
Yeah.
said that he wants. He's not saying that he's just like, oh well, now that I got
Yeah.
the contract, I'm just gonna bat. He
Yeah.
wants to.
He
pitch
wants to
and
pitch.
Do you think that like maybe the Blue Jays were top like bidders for him, and the Dodgers just race it up to 700 million
Yes.
just to get him?
I was-
like,
what
just,
was-
like they were
Yeah.
going whatever they had to just to get him.
And like,
They were
what
not
was
Also,
the
the
previous
Dodgers-
offer?
I don't know.
I wonder
Well,
what
it was
the
a whole
opposed.
secret thing. He
didn't
camp
want
wanted
anything
it
getting
to be
out.
Secret.
Yeah.
He said he'll hold it against any team that lets it.
But
Yeah.
then the
But the
manager of
thing
the Dodgers
is-
came out and spilled the beans.
Like also like the
Oh, really?
Dodgers, another like they can afford it because they have 2 MVP candidates on their team already.
Mookie Betts and Ohtani's contracts together is like 1.3 billion. Just those two players.
And then they have Freddie
When you
Freeman.
when you read off
And
when
then
you
the
read
rest
off
of the
Walker
team.
Buehler starting pitcher, Will Smith starting catcher, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, and Freddie Freeman in your lineup. That's
Here's the
crazy.
thing,
Dude,
though. Here's
someone
what I'll
put out
say.
a
though.
All right, so now
Here's
we're
what
getting
I'll
into the
say.
Dodgers.
Now we're getting into the
Okay.
Dodgers. The Dodgers are professional. They're not even professional baseball. There's not even a professional baseball team. They're professional chokers.
Brad said that.
That is what they
Brad
do.
said
That
that.
is what they listen. When we played them in 2008, they just got Manny Ramirez, and they were
Yeah.
going to win the World
Yeah,
Series.
I remember that.
And they lost to the Phillies.
I was
They-
talking to Brad today. I was like, "You're not."
By
scared
the
of
way,
Dodgers?"
Brad's
He's
their
like,
younger
"No."
brother who's
He's like, they
7.
lose in the NLDS every single
Every
year.
year. Every year. It's
it's-
something. It's always something.
There were so many tweets about Shohei going up. Like they were putting him on podcasts saying that he signed with a podcast.
Yeah.
And there was people saying he went to the Raptors. And,
yeah.
and like all that
That's
stuff.
great.
The funniest
That's
one
great.
was said someone tweeted out and said, "Congratulations, whatever." He's like, and I'll never forget all our battles through the years. And then he puts it in parentheses. He said, "One at bat, one pitch," and he.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the best one I've seen
My,
yet.
my favorite from this last year with Ohtani was Matt Vasgersian, and it was like the bottom of the first or so. It was his first at bat. He's like, his color commentator was like, let's see if he's first pitch swinging, and he gives the pitcher gives him like a high fastball. The sound that came off the bat, could have led to like the biggest earthquake in California. And Matt Vasquez just goes, and first pitch, crushing. Oh my gosh, he murdered the ball. And the game, the day that won him this contract was the day he threw a complete game
and then
homered 3 times
3 times.
With a torn UCL.
with a torn UCL.
Yeah, he
So
tore it that day.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Basically, what you need to take from this is that baseball money is absurd,
Yes.
and
The
that's-
Dodgers
that's
will be
pretty
good
much
next
it.
year. The Dodgers will be good this next year. They will not win the World Series.
I agree. I say they get
I'm
like
not ready to say that
110
they're not.
wins.
Listen, they still have no pitching
No pitching.
at all because
Ironically.
Ohtani will not be pitching.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to rule them out.
They will not win
Right
the
now.
World Series.
I would say they're gonna get to the final round. That's what I'll say. I mean, it wouldn't be absurd if like
I don't know what it is about the Dodgers.
it wouldn't
I
be
don't know.
absurd if they
I
made
don't
it.
know.
They've been
But,
super
yeah.
talented the last 10 years. They made it to
They-
the playoffs the last 11 years.
They're
Fair.
always.
And
Fair.
the
More than
only
10.
the only time they won was the COVID year, and they had a shortened season.
It's a good point. That's a solid
Exactly.
point. Jim, you had mentioned the Flyers. Were you saying that they were second in the Metropolitan Division?
Yes.
Because that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Why is that, Jim? Because I haven't watched a single game. Every time I say we have this conversation, we say, "Oh, well, I'll start watching."
Yep.
I
And
know.
it just doesn't
I
happen.
haven't watched a single hour.
Here's my elaborate opinion on the Flyers, and this is where I stand. This is the best year of Flyers hockey I've seen in a long time.
Really?
Yes.
Since
Over
when?
the number 1 seed?
Yes.
Wow.
Because here's why. They have such a plan going forward. To hear from management, to hear from the GM, to hear from the coach. Their plan is still in place. They're not like, well, we're doing good, so let's, maybe make a trade at the deadline for a top player. Maybe trade, maybe we're getting. They're like, no, this doesn't mean that we're changing it up. We want we want consistent playoff appearances. We want consistent great play for years to come. And the energy is coming back into the stadium. The energy that was there in 2012 and 2010, it's coming back. Those 2 Penguins games over the last weekend, phenomenal. They were gritty. They were hard fought.
No pun intended.
And the best part was they won
Both games?
both games. One of them in overtime.
How are the Penguins doing this year?
Terrible.
Absolutely atrocious.
And it's
Their rec-
awesome.
The record is 11 and 12.
Yeah. The Flyers right now are just impressing me so much.
Dude, all I gotta say is I haven't been watching many games. I'll turn them on like whenever
Yeah.
I see them or whatever. But I'll randomly go and check the standings. NHL standings are so hard to read
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
because
They're
like
so
there's
confusing.
like the records are like all just mixed in. They're not like
Yeah.
in order. And then the points. I know the points matter.
Their
It's like
scheduling is awful because
it's
there's a
so
team that could be
weird.
behind you, and they've
That's
played
true.
four.
It is
They've
hard to
played
read.
I know.
4 less games.
some of these games. I know. I'm reading some of the records and they're like
Yeah.
5 games apart. I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you even figure
It's-
that
You kind
out?
of just need to be watching the
scheduling,
games, honestly.
Yeah, scheduling in the NHL is
This
hard.
the Blue Jackets have played 30 games and the Senators have played 22.
Yeah,
Like, how's it even possible?
I don't know. It's so crazy.
So, what is like the brightest
The offense.
about the Flyers? Is the
offense.
offense? And is
They're-
that because of their coach?
You know what it is? You know what it is that I think Tortorella's doing, which is shocking to me? I think what he did was he said, hey, we're going to play to your strength. Travis Sanheim, for years, get him off my team. He's terrible. He's not because he wasn't playing his game. He's an offensive defenseman. This year, they're like, all right, do it. And he's electric. He's so good. Travis Konechny, last 2 years, has been excellent. A 30-goal scorer. He's on pace for 45 goals this year. Like, Carter Hart, you put a semblance of a team in front of him, he's ridiculously good. The defense needs work, but Cam York just came up, and he's lighting it up. Paul Walker. Is that his name? Paul? I think it's Paul
Sean?
Walker. Sean Walker.
Sean Walker.
Sean Walker. He's new, but he's making. Owen Tippett, who we got for Claude Giroux, has been
Claude Giroux.
amazing. Like, I just think that the coaching has been there. The coaching has been way better.
Yeah.
He's hard on them. He's pushing them.
Yeah.
And he's getting the best out of them.
Wouldn't that be nice for the Eagles right now?
Is he? That was a beautiful.
Segue.
Remember, we're bad at segues
we're
because
done.
we always do a good segue and then we point it out.
I was just gonna say that. We finally get a good one.
Anyway,
Yes.
the Eagles.
I'm happy for the Flyers. We're excited. And now let's get into the team that I think Ian deserves to take the lead on this one.
You brought it up, so you go ahead.
Because,
Dude.
not just because he brought it up, but because
How many times have I told you guys I hate that we're winning ugly?
How many?
And every
games have they
single
played
time
recently?
it's
Take a
well,
minute.
at least
Jim.
we won.
Take a minute.
yeah, at least we won. But we knew this.
You need
I
Jeff
knew
to
this
fill
was going to
in.
happen at some point. And
I want to go
thought-
right after Ian.
And I thought, well, at least it's just the Niners because we knew they were going to be the top team.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like thinking, now that we lost, I'm glad we got boat raced because it's like it'll wake us up. Also, we have to beat the Cowboys, right? Because the Cowboys can't win in December.
Obviously.
Oh wait, no.
Hold on.
Wait, we didn't just get
Last
crushed
game?
by the Niners.
No, you're right.
And
they
we're not
did.
fighting for
They
the
got
division,
murdered
right?
and slaughtered to
Dude,
death.
hold on. I'm pulling up a stat because you guys put up so many of them.
Will is the only one who pulled up stats.
So the Eagles go after the Niners game and going into the Cowboys game went 11 straight drives. Their defense went 11 straight drives. They gave up touchdown, 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 touchdown. Then the Niners nailed it to end the game. Then they gave up touchdown, field goal, touchdown.
It is
touchdown.
disgusting.
And they're supposed to be and they are a 10-2 team. I do not understand it. I hate it so much.
What I will say is, these two losses do not just take away from the fact. I mean, looking at the Chiefs right now, whatever. We beat the Cowboys. We beat the Dolphins. We beat the Buffalo Bills, and we beat the Chiefs. That does not take away from. Our schedule has been ridiculous. First of all, I'm just going to point that out there. Our
Because
schedule
we were
has
at
been
the Super Bowl.
and we just had the 49ers who came off 10 days rest. When we had a Monday night game or a Sunday night game that went down to the wire, and our defense was gassed. And then we get to the Cowboys after getting trounced by the 49ers, and guess what the Cowboys are on? 10 days rest.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
come back with this because
Okay.
I'm going to sound like
Yes.
negative Nelly.
No.
but
I
I'm
think
like,
negative Nelly
I'm about
is,
to
is-
launch. I'm about to
but
launch
I'm
on
at-
exactly.
like,
Negative Nelly
I'm
is
just tired
awful.
of it because it's making me think that maybe the media was right in saying we're lucky.
Okay.
Because we to be
Those
honest,
thoughts have
almost
definitely
did get
creeped
lucky.
in.
To be honest,
And-
I think the media's right the entire time.
It's starting to
And
creep in for
we,
sure.
all right, we got trounced by the Niners on 10 days rest. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Then you come in.
You should at least make it a contest in Dallas. You don't have to win. It was never a contest. Ever. We were within 2 scores and you would have thought we were down 5.
There was a point.
The
And
first drive.
And that point was destroyed by an A.J. Brown drop.
Yep.
Dude, he's so lazy.
There was a point.
he's
Hold on.
so
There was a
lazy
point
right
in the 40. Let's get. I'm going to talk about this lucky thing. There was a point in the 49ers game. We went up 6-0. It should have been 14-0.
Exactly.
That is not lucky. Here's why those things didn't happen.
unlucky.
Here's why those things didn't happen.
it's-
Here's why those things didn't happen.
because
I'm about to destroy a certain man who's on the sideline, and he's not the guy you think it is. Nick Sirianni
Dude,
needs to get his coordinators together and absolutely ring their, because he is not doing his job.
Listen, I
because
don't think
how many times is the middle of the field going to be open for anyone on the enemy team to just take it?
6,
Or 8 per drive.
10 even.
10 even. It is disgusting. I don't care if you have to take every single linebacker you have and sit them in the middle of the field and say, don't move.
We don't have linebackers.
Exactly. We don't have linebackers. Offensively, the absolute ineptitude to call a play or scheme
good
people open is disgusting.
the word predictable keeps coming up.
The
and that's
word
the
predictable
and
is
that's the worst word you can put to an offense.
DeAndre Swift had 4 carries in the
I
first
know.
half. And then he comes out in the second half and they run him 4 times right away. And he gets positive yards every time. What are we doing? Jalen Hurts does not read. Is he not reading the field well? Okay, well, look at last year. He read the field so well. He found receivers everywhere. He had 2 receivers over 1,000 yards and 1 that almost was over 1,000 yards. He had Goddard, who was almost over 1,000 yards. He had a running back who was over 1,000 yards. And then all of a sudden, he just loses. Oh, he's not good this year. There is a reason.
Okay, but
DeAndre Swift needs the ball more. A.J. Brown needs to stop yelling at Jalen
Opposing
Hurts
play-
on the sideline.
and also stop
when he doesn't
yapping
get
with
the ball.
opposing players
Exactly.
when you're doing nothing.
And hold on to the ball. And then when the ball comes and hits you right here,
on a perfect
on a
was the
throw
most
ball.
perfect
perfect
throw,
throw, yeah.
you catch it. I don't want to do this because I love Devontae Smith and he's such a
I was
hard
gonna
worker.
say,
He
Devontae
has
Smith.
to hold on to the ball there.
I know.
There's no way you can drop. You can fumble that
The
ball.
only argument you can give for Devontae Smith is that he's
Always
not
working.
He's not interacting
Yes.
with other teammates the same way
Yes.
that AJ Brown.
You
is.
also see
he's just
AJ
putting
Brown.
in work.
Did you see the way the way he dropped it? He dropped it like this and just
Yeah.
walked. And then
Yep.
he comes and he gets earlier in the year and even last year he catches the ball. He's fighting through cornerbacks
Yeah.
for 5-7 yards. last night's game against the Cowboys.
Runs out of bounds.
He's not even trying to go
Everyone
through
is
defenders.
just so lazy.
But
And Kurt Warner put
there's
out a video on
no-
YouTube, supposedly, showing that Jalen Hurts just isn't throwing the ball to open receivers.
Yeah. Devontae
He holds
Smith.
onto the ball for so long, and like, I don't know, but he seems like he has no awareness in the pocket. He's either out way too early or he's in there forever.
He
Yeah,
looks like
'cause
he's
his biggest
staring
cons-
at
And,
the
like,
at the rush.
You never
instead of
realize
the
that
receivers.
Exactly.
You never realize that it's like such a big thing when it happens. But like,
Yeah.
how many times is he gonna run out of bounds 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage instead of throwing the ball away?
Yeah.
Like it's only 2 yards, but it's all
2
of the
yards.
2 yards.
And it's like if you go back 1 yard, if you go back negative 1 yard with this offensive coordinator, it's a QB draw or a screen pass.
Also,
Or a screen pass.
Like-
There's no creativity.
There's
nothing.
Why do they
how
do
do
a
we
good
have
play?
a predictable offense when we have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, supposedly the best offensive line in football, which is not
Dallas
playing like
Goddard.
it.
Yeah,
It
no.
is
Dallas
not playing
Goddard.
like it. We have a top
but
tight end.
but again, how much of this is scheme when it's so predictable? It's so predictable. They can get off the line so fast because they know what's coming.
Yeah.
They can blitz because they know what's coming.
That's fair.
That's what I'm saying is defensively. The reason everyone talks about, oh, this pass rush, we suck so much. They can't do a darn thing because the opposing quarterback knows if they blitz right in the middle, there's nobody going to be there. No one can cover. If I get rushed, guess what? I can throw it up to a guy because their cornerbacks, Slay and Bradbury, suck.
They're so old.
And
They're slow.
the drop off
Yeah, they're very,
between
very
those
slow.
two who suck right now, the drop off between those two and our other cornerbacks is a freaking Grand Canyon. So those guys suck even worse.
But how many times? I know I just keep saying how many times, but it literally just keeps happening.
I know.
You would think opposing teams like having 3rd and 9 to 3rd and 14.
Yeah.
It's an automatic first down.
I know.
We can't stop people on third down, but our play calling on third down is absolutely awful. Why are we doing a 2-yard slant on third down
They-
when
I
it's
know.
3rd and 7 and you
It's-
could
it's-
easily do
But it's also
any
because
type of play?
The play is a slant if you watch every third down, the opposing team brings up heavy blitz.
Heavy blitz.
yeah.
And we just cannot.
What we
pick
didn't
up.
should
realize
not be-
It's
was
just a quick throw.
You should not be throwing it and trying to get yards after the catch. You should be throwing it for the first down
Well, we
and then
sh-
trying to get
Yes.
yards.
Yeah, because that
We
play
will
But
put
you
this
have
here.
Devontae
A.J.
Smith
Brown.
was.
Yes.
He should be. Look, they say A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf are the same exact player, basically,
Yeah.
right? Right now, I would take Metcalf in a heartbeat
Here's
over
the
A.J.
di-
Brown.
here's
right
the thing
now.
though. Here's the thing though. You know what? Also, other teams use. The 49ers use. The Chiefs use.
All their players
Dallas right now uses.
instead of just one.
Travis Kelce, Ferguson, George Kittle. Why in the heck is Dallas Goddard only getting like 3 targets a game?
Because
They
our
don't know
offense-
how to
our
play.
offense
Smith
is just
Yeah.
all Devontae Smith, all A.J.
Yeah,
Brown,
yeah.
or all the run game. We have no
So
we have no
predictable.
like. I don't even.
Spread the
And
ball
like
around.
you said,
it in. We can't
yeah.
just mix it
Yeah,
all in.
and
together.
like you said about attitude with AJ Brown, when he dropped that pass, it was like, oh, frick, that stinks.
And then
when
he gets right
Devontae
back in
Smith gets
Stephon Gilmore's
overthrown,
face.
yeah,
Like, what are you doing?
Devontae Smith was overthrown there in the end zone,
Yeah.
and he lunges out to get it, hits off his hands, and he's on the ground, banging the ground like I would
know.
rather see that every
Look
single
at
time
DK
from a
Metcalf.
guy.
He's getting in fights
Yes.
because he's so tired of losing.
Yes.
And I keep saying this to Jake and them. It's like, I feel bad for DK because I keep watching him, and he's toasting
Yeah.
quarterbacks, and then they get to chirp back at him at the end of the game when they're winning, and then he gets in a fight and gets ejected. It's like I applaud him
I
so
was
much for what he does.
at their house watching it, obviously, and I said to Ian right away, I was just like, I hate to say it, but A.J. Brown reminds me of Alshon Jeffrey.
Right now, yeah, a little bit.
Like
He
right
reminds-
now,
A
he
little bit.
reminds me of Alshon Jeffrey, and
A
that's the
little bit.
scariest thing because he's way more skilled.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with him, but he's giving me Stephon Diggs vibes right now.
Yeah, a little
Where
bit.
he's becoming more,
It's
he's
all like the same thing.
he's like a diva almost.
Moderator
Jeff.
Jeff
You
has a
guys
point.
are ripping on AJ Brown, but I feel like we need to get on Jalen Hurts a little more because I feel like when he's just sitting on this, like he shows no emotion.
But
Like that, listen,
I have an opinion on that though.
I feel like AJ Brown's turning that to where he doesn't want to show all this emotion, and Brian Johnson's not thinking. No one's. If someone, I want to see where someone goes and actually shows how frustrated they are when they have a
With-
2-yard out route with with Brian Johnson.
Here's
But that's
the
what
thing,
Jim
though.
said.
Here's-
That's Sirianni's job, though.
I was just gonna point that.
Yeah.
Sirianni, when he's happy,
'Cause I agree with
he's
you.
all up in the happy. When it's not going right, all he's sitting there, he's silent as a church
sometimes,
mouse.
sometimes.
Only
I've
when it's the
seen-
refs.
yeah.
Only when it's the refs.
No,
is he
I
yelling.
was saying I've seen Sirianni get on their what's his Asai.
Decide.
Sean
yeah.
Desai.
I've seen him get on him
Yes.
a couple times.
He
but,
needs to take
but
over
yeah,
play
like
calling.
I completely agree that Sirianni needs to do something.
Yes.
And like
Also-
I
Jalen
get
Hurts.
the mindset.
Jalen Hurts' through line is always the same, and that's why I'm okay with it. AJ Brown's is always different.
Where I'm at with Sirianni is like, I believe that he's a really good coach.
Yes.
But we have to realize he's been a really good coach, and his record's like 27-3.
Yeah.
But we just got trounced by the Niners. Like, literally trounced. We
Yeah.
never had a chance.
Yeah.
Where was his bringing the guys together, getting the energy
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
for a big
Why do you-
divisional game? It's the Cowboys, and you're fighting for the division. Like, we looked like we just came out there, and it was just another game.
You see it
whatever happens.
all the time on opposing team sidelines. Not typically against the Eagles, but you see one person getting all their defense together, what offensive, whatever it is, in a circle on the sideline and pumping them up or talking to
But
them.
you know what's crazy
You
is?
never see that with the Eagles.
But here's what happened last night, which I love Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox,
Yes,
and he
same.
went out there and he said, you know what? And he was getting in almost. No one talking because they lost. Obviously, he destroyed
Yeah,
that.
he
play.
dominated.
And he dominated that play to
He
give
dominated
them
that game.
to give
He-
them
that's-
breath. And
I know.
Jalen Carter picking that ball up and running as fast as he did, like. I love the defensive line, so I'm always going to defend it. The defensive line is the best part of our team.
and you
Is
know what?
the best part of our
It
team.
is, But
I don't-
they've been
I don't know.
awful lately.
You know
But
what's
they
ironic?
don't have anything.
Okay,
they
here's what-
don't have any kind of coverage on the back end.
Here's what I'll say.
So it's hard to say, it's them. I don't
Okay,
think
But
it's
they're
them.
still not getting in there,
But-
no matter what.
It takes 6-7 seconds to get in there. We're only touching QBs if they don't have an option and they're escaping the pocket.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
it's hard to say. In my opinion, ironically, I think our run game is the best part of our
I know.
team
Can
right
we
now.
run the ball?
Literally,
We don't see
our
it.
run game is
They
the
don't
best.
see it.
Is the
I
best
agree.
part of our team. I have more to say about our defensive line almost than any other part of the team. But we're all viewing it from different perspectives because you could use the same argument that, okay, well, if the defensive backs actually covered, then they'd be able to get in. But in my opinion, the defensive backs are covering for a significant amount of time, but the quarterbacks have plenty of time to hold on to the ball and then throw it. So it's like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like, we're not blitzing.
No.
Except
Yeah.
for on like rare
Do
occasions.
you know when we blitz? Well, you know when we blitz? And I don't want to see him next week, is when Morrow comes in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's the only one they blitz with.
I know. I don't understand. Like,
Why is he playing?
You know that Morrow is bad.
It's
So
bad.
why
And
are
you
you
like
playing
Ricks,
him?
too.
Why are you playing him over Shaq Leonard, who could be good, but maybe a little confused in the defense? I'd rather play a little confused, potentially great linebacker
How
than
in the heck
someone you
can
know
you not
who
put
is
him
bad.
in on there in a blitz package?
But I still don't understand. Like, we brought over Bradley Roby, right? And
Yeah.
he's healthy. Why is he not playing over Eli Ricks? Eli Ricks is so unbelievably bad.
Yeah. He's a rookie.
And he's guarding
He's
CeeDee
a
Lamb.
rookie. I don't blame him for being bad. You're putting him in bad situations.
Yeah, that it's all comes down to coaching, in
Kevin
which we all
Byard
knew.
is a
but-
ball hawk in Tennessee.
I thought that
And-
I thought it was really good when we somehow fixed the contracts of Bradbury and Slay. That might have been the worst decision we made in a while.
I
They
don't
are-
know
they are
how
terrible.
it's hard for me to read Slay right now because he's not very good, but also like I don't know what he's supposed to do because everybody's open
How come?
everywhere. So like he's trying, you know what I mean?
Again, I think that our defensive line is not getting pressure.
I feel like Slay is
I agree.
horrible 3/4 of the time, but the other quarter he's making very good plays. Like, why can't you just be consistent in like?
And
I
also-
think the whole team's just bad.
And also, now that
Right now.
we've gotten how we, whoa, light just went off. Hold on, let me fix it. You guys keep going.
Also, like, I know it's just because we lost that we're extra mad, but like, Reed Blankenship is our starting safety.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't care. Reed Blankenship is the best tackler on this team.
Yeah.
I
I
do
don't
not.
think
I
he's
do
as
not.
bad
I'm
as
not a
you
hu-
think.
Reed Blankenship
But yeah,
is better
our
than
tackling is
it's
back
horrendous.
to like whatever it was,
and
2016,
Seth Joyner.
2015.
Seth Joyner was right
Terrible.
on, and Darius Slay wants to come out and talk about how this and that and whatever about tackling. He's right. Seth Joyner is right.
Yeah.
The DBs don't care about tackling.
Dude, Darius Slay might be him
The
and
worst
Bradbury
tack-
might be the.
Yeah.
Slay cannot wrap up. He
No.
doesn't try to wrap up anyone.
No.
He can't wrap up anyone, and he can't bring anyone down.
I think
Bradbury at least tries.
I think the defense shows some flashes. They're incredibly predictable, and I think the defense shows some flashes. That first 2 drives of that 49ers game, they dominated.
Yes, I
The
know.
Chiefs game in the second half, they dominated.
Because they got to Purdy. They were
Correct.
all over Purdy in those
Okay.
first 2 drives.
They're tired if they come out there, if they come back on the field and they're up 14-0 instead of 6-0, because our offense is even
I know,
if
we're
it's
playing
10-0.
for field goals. We're playing, for field goals. As soon as
Yeah.
we get in the red zone, it's like
I was watching
short little plays, and if it doesn't work, we have a field
yeah.
goal. So
I was watching with my girlfriend's family last night, and one of them said when they got the ball back right before the half, they said, "All right, run the clock down, get a touchdown, and then you have the ball in the second half." I said, I would rather them go 2 plays, 75 yards, and score a touchdown in under a minute and give the Dallas Cowboys back the ball, because I am so tired. I am so tired of, let's outthink this and let's, run it here and then push here and we'll run the clock down. We control the clock.
and
you
then
get a field
something
goal.
bad happens
And you
every
get a
And
time.
field
then
goal.
instead, just try to play to dominate.
You play to win the game. You play to win the game. Score touchdowns. That's how you win the game. The 49ers control the clock. You know why? Because they come out, they throw the ball, they score touchdowns, and then they run the ball down your
I know.
throat the rest of the game.
Like the Eagles don't, the Eagles don't dominate. They just
No.
win games. Cowboys, now, granted, they played the Giants and the Command.
Yeah.
They've won by 20 points
Yeah.
8 times this year. 8 times. I don't know if the Eagles have won by 20 yet this year.
What will show me a lot is this upcoming schedule. You have to
Dominate.
You have to annihilate.
But this is the worst part.
This is the speech from the
Because
Remember
we just
the
lost
Titans.
these 2, and now we have to just go play. Now it's like, well, we'll beat up on the Giants and Commanders.
I don't care
It's
because we beat the Chiefs, the Bills, the Dolphins, and the
Yeah,
Cowboys
we
already.
have
I don't care about
impressive
any of
wins
that.
this
We
year.
already have impressive
I-
wins. We're
I
not the
don't
Cowboys. We already have impressive wins. This is what I'll say. Leave no doubt against the Seahawks, the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Giants. Leave no doubt.
Seahawks, again, you're coming right back. You have an
You're
opportunity.
coming right back. You're
'Cause
going
they're-
there.
The way they played against Dallas, it's not like they're going to be a cakewalk.
like,
No.
So
we
that
can't,
can be
we
a
never
prove
could
your
win in Seattle.
Yeah,
No, we
that can
can't.
be a prove yourself
yes.
game. But last thing I want to say about the Eagles is, am I just not realizing that the refs are doing something different this year?
The refs are horrible.
How is it that we played Dallas twice? I don't know how many flags were picked up, but
4 Dallas. And it's 4
In the
Dallas
last
every
2
time.
games, in the last 2 games,
and not a
7
single,
flags have
and
been
not a
picked up.
single one picked up for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Is that right?
And yes, all of them have been.
I don't
Fail.
understand like what is going
I
on,
don't
but
either.
to me
This
it was
is-
just like I'm like sitting there mind blown as to what's happening. I'm like, did I just miss something that the refs are just throwing flags more this year?
Say
And then,
what
like,
you're picking the flag up for. He would
Yeah.
always
I agree.
say, "There's
I
no
agree.
foul on the putt."
Yeah.
Yeah, but every time, like Chris Collinsworth last night, he goes and shows the flag or what was supposed to be the flag, and it is.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
He
That's the
even
thing.
admitted it.
is.
And he's a
And-
Cowboys fan, and
and
we
on
all
the-
clearly know that.
On that, also, I want to hit on this before we go off this. I want to hit on this. Jalen Hurts can run. Jalen Hurts can run. We all agree, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
that's why they do so
The
many
QB
draws.
draw needs to be torn out of of Brian Johnson's playbook.
Okay, I have a differing opinion. Just real quick.
You could have
I'll
all
take-
the facts,
I'll take-
all the
I'll
stats.
using
take
it at the
3 or
wrong
4 from a
time.
game
Yes,
because
yes.
they do work. He just puts them in at the worst time.
Yeah,
Third and 12.
I agree.
Yeah,
At
he just
third
puts
and
them in at the
12.
worst time.
Because he's clearly one of the best QBs to do it.
You know what works
But
with-
it's you, yeah.
You know what works with Hurts on 3rd and 12? When he drops back to pass and then he runs. When he sees an opening.
Yeah.
Not
Also-
going, get the ball, run.
Don't
They know it's coming.
If you're running out to the side as you're gonna run, keep the ball in a throwing position at least out here. don't just go run because then all
It's
those
a QB
quarterbacks.
draw. It's a QB draw.
No, but like he needs to sell it a little more.
Yeah.
Pretend that you're throwing at least. Like, also there was a
Maybe.
play
Then
on
there's
the
four
Dallas
cornerbacks
last
on the
night
line.
that Jalen Hurts slid, got
Oh, yeah.
rocked, and it's like if
Yeah.
that was Patrick Mahomes, if that was Josh Allen,
Dak Prescott.
if that was Dak Prescott, even
This
that's a
game called.
flag immediately.
Absolutely. Immediately. And same with the offsides. Guy was lined up inside of Jason Kelsey on the Hurts fumble.
Yeah.
Pass interference.
Yeah, this-
picked up.
The
picked
one
up,
against
picked
Devontae
up.
I
Smith.
honestly
Yeah.
can't
How's it
believe
not?
A pick
How?
play. A pick play on their second
Yeah.
touchdown.
Yeah, yep, I know.
Picked up.
Yeah.
The refs are horrible.
And if anyone out there watched the Cowboys and Seahawks game on
Dude,
Thursday Night Football,
horrendous.
Ian made a good point. You said if there was ever a game that you would
I know.
make you think the NFL is fixed,
Is that-
if there was ever a
I
game,
never believe it, but that game
that
came
game
very close to
came
me.
very close to making you feel. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch the highlights. There was literally a face mask that they picked up the flag.
a double face mask.
About as obvious as a face mask as you can get. Picked up. They threw the flag.
And you know what?
Reviewed it and then picked it up.
Yeah.
I was
Like,
just gonna
no,
say,
it wasn't a face
Don't
mask.
they have people in New York looking at it and talking to them through ear?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What is wrong? Are they actually blind?
I just hope it doesn't get this bad in college football because you know what's coming up in college football?
College football playoffs.
Is the CFP. Now,
I have one thing to say about this.
wait.
If
Wait.
if
If it ends up Michigan and Texas, it will be. It will. You know what it means? It means that this channel, this channel, is meant to be.
yeah.
This podcast, our challenge videos, all of our other skits, everything. Could not be
Let me
more
tell you
meant to
this
be.
right now.
If
Okay, I have
it
a
is
question for
Michigan
you
and Texas
first.
in the final.
I have a question for you first.
Yes.
Would you consider yourself like an actual Texas fan?
Um,
Or do
How would you respond to that,
I'm
Jim?
loving it.
How would you respond to
I'm
that, Jim?
loving it.
Like,
I'll
what-
put it this way.
If you could,
I'll put it
if
this
you
way.
could say 2 words to answer him, what would you say? Or 3? Let's just go 3 words.
The first word would for sure be hook.
Okay.
The second word would be and then the third would be baby. Yeah. If they go to the college, if they go to the finals, yes.
Dude,
Hold on,
that's
hold on.
gonna be
If they go to the finals,
If
I'm
Michigan
calling
and
this right now
Texas-
on this podcast right now. If they go to the finals, and they're playing Michigan,
Okay.
I will
You're
deck myself
showing up in Texas
out in
gear.
Texas gear.
Dude,
Dude.
please don't. Like,
Yes.
actually, please don't.
Yes,
Because it won't
it's
be
happening. It'll be
Okay.
hilarious.
Okay.
We are live streaming that
Okay.
game.
Yeah.
And if Texas makes it and Michigan doesn't,
I am showing
I'll
up
show up in
in Texas
Texas
gear. And
Well, listen, if
I
Texas
will
makes it
hook
and
'em,
Michigan
baby.
isn't, I'm rooting so hard for Texas because
Yeah.
they'll be playing Alabama,
Yeah.
yeah.
who does not deserve to be in the college football.
I have a
Bro.
completely different opinion than you on this. Let's go.
Well,
Go
wait.
for
We
it.
already
Why?
know your point because that's everyone in the entire world. All right, I'm interested in.
I
your
want
point.
to go back. I want you to say your point so that I can go back at you.
That's
Well,
fair.
why do you? Who do you think Florida State should be in?
Yes.
Okay. I have one college for you. TCU.
Okay.
That I like the championship
That's
games.
why they're not in?
I've watched the last couple championships game. That championship game last year was horrendous.
So
I
they're
did-
doing
I
like
turned
a
it off
preview.
of
in their decision making.
TCU is the reason Florida State's not
Okay.
it.
I'll say this to
don't
go
think
right
that's
back
fair.
at that. They put TCU in and they won a game to get to the championship.
I have
game.
2 points.
Okay.
Okay.
Give Florida State the chance.
Is it more about
They
Florida
just
State or is
beat-
it more about Alabama?
It's more about Florida State not having a QB, and they said that.
Yeah.
They said.
No, I'm saying,
But
is
the
for you,
Florida
are you
State-
angry about it more because it's Alabama or because it's because Florida State got left out?
I am angry about it because I believe that Florida State should be in because they beat a top 10 ranked or 15 ranked team in a conference championship game with a third string quarterback. And Alabama, who is obviously going to get in because everyone loves Alabama.
Right.
Yes, they beat Georgia. They had to beat Auburn. Beat Auburn, who got trounced by New Mexico State on a 4th and 31 Hail Mary, which, like, should never, ever have happened.
Fair.
Here.
But again, do you want to see the championship game that was
No,
last
I-
year?
here,
Yeah,
again?
but that's
Here.
like that's
Here.
that's picking for ratings.
Two
though.
things.
Again,
two
that's
things right
why
here.
that's why sports exists. You want to see
I
the
know.
best championship game.
I know,
it's
but
not
it's-
Florida State
no.
and another team.
You should.
It's
the
not.
teams getting in should be on how they played in the season, what their record is,
Right.
and like why would I forgot the other point? I don't know why I did.
You got it. I believe in you.
Because
Like
if
why
you-
would you?
They
It's the
gave
same-
Ohio
they're
State
better
the
records.
chance.
look at the
In
Diamondbacks.
whatever year it was,
You should
Ohio
not
State
consider
went.
injury.
Ohio
Why
State
not?
On how
Ohio
they're going to play in the
State
playoffs.
went in.
They already played for their right to the playoffs.
The whole
and
point
won.
of the college football commission to pick for the playoffs, right? Playoff commission.
Yeah.
Is to pick
yeah.
the best matchups, the
No,
best
it's to
teams.
pick
Okay,
the four
but
best
The
teams.
four best teams, and without their quarterback, the Florida State is not one of the best four teams.
I agree with that, but you can't
So,
take away.
okay.
But you can't take away what they did all
You
season.
can because their
No.
quarterback got hurt, and they're not one of
They
the best
are-
four
well,
But
they
teams.
that's them assuming though.
Quiet.
No, I think that,
Ohio, they put Ohio State in with their third string quarterback, and Ohio State won the championship.
Okay, I'm just
So
saying.
why, like, where, like,
if
it's
you're
because
looking
it's
at
Ohio
it,
State.
if you're
It's a
looking
big
at
name.
it, if
It's
you're
a big
looking
name.
at it from their perspective, I 100%. When they
No,
first said it,
it's
I
because
100% get it
they
because
can't
of
live
exactly
without
what
an
happened
SEC
last
team.
year.
I mean, I
It's-
understand what you're saying.
it's
TCU
because of the
last year,
SEC.
if TCU didn't play in the college football playoffs last year and they didn't have the finals they had last year, Florida State would be in this year for sure.
No, they wouldn't
For
be. Even if
sure.
because they
For
can't live
sure.
without an SEC
No,
team in the playoffs.
because they're going for the best product, and the best product does not have Florida State in the championship game.
Here.
What
The
you can say
best-
whatever, but
the
I don't
best-
think you should be worried about.
The best playoffs.
Maybe you should be worried for
That's their
like
whole
money.
goal. That's their whole goal. That's why the league exists.
Okay, well then what is the point of Florida State playing their games?
Because if they had their quarterback and he was healthy, they would be in.
Yeah,
but
but
they're not
okay.
healthy. They don't have a quarterback
Yeah,
that's
but
healthy.
you- okay,
and
but if
the
that's-
whole point of them selecting, somebody said,
The
what
same
if?
thing with the Eagles.
There's
and Nick
no way you
Foles.
could tell me
Okay,
though.
but that's not how the NFL playoffs work.
Yeah, but
your
there's-
record is
yeah,
that your record
the
is you
college
win and
football
get in.
playoffs
College
should
football
not work
playoffs
like that.
are based on. I'm saying, is it fair? No.
Okay, but
if
if
it was
Florida
a different
State-
system, then okay. But the system it's working now, that is the right
Yeah,
decision.
if their quarterback didn't get hurt, you mean to tell me that it'd
They
be
should be in.
Okay, it'd be bigger ratings if it was Florida State instead of Alabama, even at that point. I think at that point it would still be the same. You could
ratings-
still use the same argument.
the ratings wouldn't be as good as say, as the bigger teams as Michigan versus Alabama or something like that, or Ohio State versus Alabama. But the point is they're going to be even less because everyone is going into that game. It's not you guys, not us who are. I'm not even a big college football fan, but you two who are big college football fans. It's not those people they're concerned about. They're concerned about the guy who's like me or a little bit less than me going, I saw what happened last year. I don't want to watch a finals game like that again. I'm not going to watch it. A third string quarterback playing in a
Yeah.
championship game. I don't want to
The
watch
point
that.
that you're
but that
making
takes
makes
away
sense.
the meaning for the games.
Yeah,
It's
the
way-
point
Because
that you're making
Florida
makes
State,
sense.
it
but-
wasn't like their quarterback just got hurt now.
But
He got hurt a couple weeks ago,
but
and
the-
they kept winning.
Okay, but it's apples and oranges. You cannot compare the NFL to the college football playoffs because they're totally different. The NFL
Okay,
is
that's
a
why I
very
gave you Ohio State example.
okay. But what I'm saying is, it's Ohio State. They're gonna put them in because the ratings don't. The ratings are gonna be what they are.
Okay, well that's why it's bogus.
But it's not bogus because
it is.
It's
You
not.
gotta give the kids a
I
chance.
understand
No.
your point, but I
because
agree
all
with
people
Ian's
said
point.
last
I
year was
agree.
TCU was, oh, you got to give them a chance. They have to be in there because of their
And
record.
they won a game.
And they won a game,
Can you-
and they got destroyed by Georgia.
Which
Oh,
might have been the best.
The game was over in the first quarter.
Okay, but Georgia might have been the best college football team ever.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
I think it's.
And there's
That's
not
fine.
that team this year.
Michigan could be one of the best Michigan teams in forever. And then Florida State comes in and they destroy them. And you go, oh, that's kind of sucked. And everyone else who's not a big college football fan, who's not a Michigan fan, was tuned out at the second quarter. That is
No.
why they
It doesn't.
did not
I
let
think
Florida
it
State
should
in the playoffs.
never, ever depend on what do you think they're gonna do in the future. And
That's
it
the
should
whole
never
point of a
depend-
college
But,
football
okay,
committee.
Jim, so here's
That's
the
the whole
should
point of a
never-
committee
never-
deciding.
Okay, but here's my question. So I understand what you're saying.
Right.
Do you think that that's bogus?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I think that it's fair? No, but that's how the selection. That's why the selection committee's there.
Okay, but
It's to pick the best 4 matchups that they think
They-
we're looking forward. What's the best 4
they don't
matchups?
pick up.
complete-
Does
Including-
not include Florida
listen,
State.
if you
tell
listen to
me
Kirk
honestly.
Herbstreit, he tells you all the guidelines. They're not ratings that they're picking them off of. They're picking the
in
4
the-
best teams. That's what they're
Right,
picking
and
off.
without their quarterback, Florida State is not one of the. You think honestly that Florida State without their starting quarterback is one of the 4 best teams?
We don't know that. We don't know.
Right now, tell me
Listen,
right now.
Listen,
if you're on the
I had
selection
to play,
committee,
if I put in Florida State right now versus Alabama right now
Here's the
in
truth.
a game to get in, I honestly can't tell you that Alabama would just
completely
easily
here's
get
the
in.
truth.
I-
Here's the truth. You don't want to know why? It's the absolute proof that Florida State does not belong in there, because when Michigan fans found out that they were playing Alabama instead of Florida State, they were all like, "Oh crap, this sucks. Why the heck are the what?" It's because they know that Florida State is a worse team than Alabama.
No.
They were happy to get Florida State because they didn't have their starting quarterback, and they're like, "Okay, cool." And then they got Alabama, who has a starting quarterback who is better than Florida State, and they were annoyed.
Yeah, but I think it's because it's Nick Saban in the playoff.
Okay, so
I'm saying-
that proves my point.
I
They're a
don't
better
care.
team.
I don't
They're
care.
a better team.
No,
Nick
you don't
Saban-
know that,
Michigan
though.
Nick
playing?
Saban in the playoffs is better than a 3rd-string quarterback in Florida State. Tell me I'm wrong.
I don't disagree, but I'm saying who played better that year?
I don't.
Florida State, right?
With their starting
Tell me
quarterback,
I'm
yes.
wrong. Okay.
Okay,
With
Al-
their
all right,
starting
so
quarterback.
that's my-
Without their
that's
starting
it.
quarterback, no.
All right, listen to this.
But
So-
hey, why?
So
Because
Jim,
they weren't as good.
Yeah, but Alabama nearly lost to an unranked team.
Okay, but
Came
my
down to the
point
wire.
is,
give me this. Give me this answer. If Alabama does lose to Auburn, but then beats Georgia, who hadn't lost in 29 straight games, is Alabama still better than Florida State, right?
say that again.
So Alabama would have lost to Auburn, right?
Right.
But then they beat Georgia.
Right.
So are they still better than Florida State? Because
What do you mean?
technically, I would still say that they're probably better because they have a starting quarterback and Florida State doesn't.
Right.
But they just lost to Auburn. But they're still not going to get in because they have 2 losses.
Okay.
Okay.
But that's not
So
what we're
that-
talking about.
Yes, it is,
We're
because-
talking
Not
about
what we're
leading up,
talking
though.
about.
But listen,
That's-
because you're
that's-
saying that they were putting
if
the
they
4
lose-
best teams in,
Did
right?
they lose to Auburn?
Listen.
Did they lose
let
to
me
Auburn?
finish.
Yeah, but it's almost.
Because you said they put the 4 best teams in,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
So then Alabama should still go in, even though they have 2 losses because they're better than Florida State.
Okay. But there's another. If there's another 11-1 team that's in front of them, then no, because
But
of
there
their
wouldn't have
record.
been.
But what I'm saying is this.
Yeah, man.
You be perfectly honest with me. Is Florida State one of the best 4 teams in the country?
Did they play?
I
No,
think
answer
there's-
the question.
I think
Answer the
there's a
question.
strong debate that they are.
There's a strong debate, but definitively are the best.
Well, I can't say that Alabama is
Okay, so
definitively
here's the thing.
either.
So here's the thing. You said there's an argument to be made, right?
Yeah.
So the
Sure.
college football committee had the argument, and what they came out to was Alabama is a better team than Florida State.
If you have the
So
argument,
they
what do
put them
you
in
what
there.
do you look to though?
The
The
fact
season.
that Alabama has the same record as Florida, or one more loss than Florida State, but Florida State does not have a starting quarterback.
Yeah, but I'm just
Of
like,
high
at what point,
caliber.
what are you using to make your judgment then?
Again, I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying that that's the way it should be. In the NFL, it's fair because you play and you get your record and you're in. That's how it's been set up. But the college football playoffs is set up by a selection committee. Don't
is
have a
so
selection.
stupid.
It's stupid. I wouldn't like
so
it.
stupid.
If it was my team, that I wouldn't like it. But it's what it is. And if you're asking me, do I think that Florida State is one of the best 4 teams in the country without their starting quarterback? It's a no.
You just played an entire year, went undefeated, even with your 3rd-string quarterback and with your backup quarterback. You won a game with each. You beat a top 10 or 15 ranked team in a conference championship game with a 3rd-string quarterback. But a team with 1 loss gets in ahead of you.
I think
The
that's
Jets-
just disrespectful.
The Jets signed Aaron Rodgers to lead them with a stunning
You
defense.
already said we're not bringing in NFL, so I'm not listening.
But I'm saying is that fair? No, but it's what happened.
No, because Aaron Rodgers didn't play an amazing season and just get hurt in week
God.
17.
That's very valid.
Did Florida State's quarterback
and
play an
Zach
amazing
Wilson
season
and-
and then
and
got
Zach
hurt?
Wilson
Yes,
and Trevor
and
Simeon
Aaron
are
And he
Rodgers
still
undefeated
got
right
hurt
now.
though. Did their backup quarterbacks play 17 games and have an amazing season?
No.
No.
That's why
Okay,
you
so
can't
that's who's going to be
predict
playing in
the
the
future.
college football
Jim,
playoff.
but
Yeah,
the
but
Jets' backup quarterbacks didn't go undefeated.
Okay, but they had 2 games against a team, Louisville, right?
Yeah.
Was the one team who isn't very good.
They're
Is
top
Louisville
10 or
very
15.
good?
Top
Neither
10 or
is
15.
Auburn.
Okay.
Auburn is not very good
Okay.
either.
Auburn's unranked.
Okay, but the difference is you just said it. It's Nick Saban in the playoffs.
Sure, but you said, but why was Michigan all up and at 'em about
Yeah.
about facing Alabama?
Yeah, and they were happy. They were very happy to face Florida State because Florida State doesn't have a quarterback, and Alabama does, and they have a
Here,
good coach.
It doesn't matter. I'm not going off of what Michigan is playing Alabama. I just think
I'm coming from a
a
pure-
standpoint of
yeah.
Florida State and Bama, it's disrespectful not to put Florida State in because they had a better season.
It's disrespectful
They
to
had a-
fans who want to watch a good football game to put a team with
Listen,
no
They should
starting
not.
quarterback
They
in
should
there.
not give
You-
one care about
fans
the
should
fans.
not-
Why
One
not?
care.
The fans are the whole point of it.
Because
The fans watch
Florida
it.
State earned the right
You're-
to the
you're-
college
Yeah, but
football
You guys
playoff.
are
Okay,
being, you guys
okay.
are being way too naive to
Listen,
think that they
listen.
don't care about what the fans think and what their ratings are.
We know
No,
that they
I
care
know that they
about
that
it.
is
care,
the
but-
number one thing
But,
they care about.
okay, but
I agree
say
with-
the Phillies go with this giant thing and then they're just out of it because, oh, well, they'd rather see the Braves and Dodgers.
If they
like,
lost,
that's just
if they,
stupid.
but they didn't do that. They didn't do. That's not what
Yeah, but
they
you're
did.
not given the opportunity for an
If
upset of Florida State.
If Florida State goes in there with their starting quarterback, they're underdogs already,
Okay,
right? They're-
okay,
if they
okay,
go
okay.
in there with their starting quarterback, they're underdogs, correct? They
no.
still probably are underdogs.
Wait,
Because
against
if they-
Michigan?
Listen,
Against
no.
Michigan or
Because
against
they would have been the
Georgia.
2 or 3 seed.
Okay, fine. But say they go in there, right? And it's a fair and they got left out. Say if they had a starting quarterback, they had the season they had, they finished it off strong, and they got left out. I 100% agree with you. That's totally bogus, crap, garbage. But that's not what happened. And you know that's not what happened. And you can't give me a direct answer on whether without their starting quarterback, they're one of the 4 best teams in
Here,
the league in this country.
They're not. They're not.
They're not.
They're
Okay, so
clearly
why
not.
do they belong in the college football
Because
playoff?
Because it should not be deciding
this
on.
is the best.
It should not
segment
be
we've
deciding
had.
on the future. It should be deciding on how you played your season.
That's the whole point of the college football. The whole
It shouldn't.
watching the
it
season.
is-
The
it
whole
is
watching
whole
the
point.
season.
But it should not be
they
like that.
They take the whole season and they go, what do we think is going to happen in the playoffs? That's how they
Exactly
do
what I'm
it
saying.
every year.
Yeah, but Jim, you're not leaving.
Exactly
So the
what
argument
I'm
that you're
saying.
making though about Alabama, what happens?
I
if-
don't care if it's Alabama, if it's Ohio State, if it's Texas, if it's whatever. I don't.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, what if Florida State upset Michigan and somehow managed to win the championship? I'm
Okay,
saying
that's
they're
fair.
only using the one reference that they have of TCU where it was trash fest.
That's fair.
The Seahawks and Broncos, since we're bringing the NFL into it.
That's
like,
fair.
That was an absolute disaster of a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But they still
they're
had the
totally
opportunity.
based on different things.
Well, I'm saying
They're
then,
totally
but
based
if
on
you're basing
different
it on
standards.
ratings, don't you think it'd be better ratings if it was this underdog that could
Yeah,
do it?
But a selection committee doesn't decide who plays in the
I
NFL.
need you to give me
No, no, no,
your
I'm
honest
just saying.
feelings because you're just coming from,
I'm
well,
coming-
this is how it is, and I'm tired of hearing that.
Okay.
I know how it is.
My honest feelings.
I'm giving
Yes.
you my opinion.
All right, go
I
ahead.
know
Now,
what
how
it
do you
is.
feel about Florida State and Alabama?
I think that Alabama's a better team and they should be in the
Okay.
college football playoffs.
You honestly agree with them leaving Florida State out?
Yes.
Do you hold up? Here, I have a question.
I
have a question.
100% do because the way that their whole college football playoffs is set up, it's a selection committee for the best possible
how it's
4
set up.
teams.
That's how it's set
That's
up.
how it's set up.
Do you like how it's set up?
No.
Okay.
No. But if you're okay,
absolutely-
it's the same thing with the whole like when people use smoke weed and they get kicked
So
out of
you-
the Olympics. Do I like the rule? Do I think it's fair? Not really. But you broke the rules. The rules are so this is the way the college football committee selects is they select the 4 best teams. They have to debate who the 4 best teams are. I don't like the college football setup. I think the NCAA is a criminal organization the way they handle things. I don't like it. But we're talking about what is and how they select them. And based on how they select them, I completely 100% agree and can see their point. Why they left Florida State out.
But you disagree with it.
I don't like it.
Look up criteria for their selection.
Can I say this while you're looking?
Yeah,
Yes.
go for it.
I saw when they made the selections. One guy was talking about. He said one thing is if the committee put them in for just because they're an SEC team, he does not want to see that. And because of Jordan Travis I think it might have been Jordan Travis getting hurt, but he said you need to get the 4 best teams in, and that's what they did. So I think Alabama, based on the committee, I agree with Jim. If this isn't the record, as a Michigan fan, I think Bama deserves it over Florida State just for the sake of it. The NFL
Deserves?
The NFL
They definitely
That's
don't
where I
deserve.
disagree.
That is not
The
true.
NFL
That's where I disagree.
based on the commission, how the commission does it, they deserve it. I don't think they actually deserve it. I think Florida State deserves it. But you guys bringing in the NFL. The NFL doesn't care about the ratings. They care more about the record.
Here's
The
what it
college
says.
Football cares more about the rating, not the record.
Here's what it says. It says, how do you qualify for college football? A team's strength of schedule is one of the most pertinent considerations for the committee is in making its selections. Other factors that the committee weighs are conference championships, team records, head-to-head results, plus other points such as injuries and, for some reason, weather.
Yeah, but I think in injuries though, isn't that saying like if
If
saying
your
more
starting
for
quarterback
the
is hurt.
Well, I was gonna say I think it's more like, okay, well they had an injury and still won. That's better.
I think it's they have an
I-
injury and they're not as good.
Yeah, but I don't
After.
I don't agree with that.
For
I think
example-
that the injury point is in there for, let's just say, the Eagles when Carson Wentz went down and Nick Foles still won. Let's just say they were trying to use those games to see if the Eagles would make the playoff.
Fair.
They would say, okay, well Wentz went down and they still won. It was close, but they had a backup quarterback.
I think-
so. Therefore, they're even higher ranked.
I agree
don't
with
agree.
Will.
I
That's what
think
I
you
think
have
though.
to take
But
that's
away,
how
you're
I
taking,
think
but
take
you're
away-
taking into consideration both
take
sides.
away the idea of getting ratings. You have to give Florida State the chance.
I don't think you have to based on the way they the whole if it was so purely if it was not a committee selecting, absolutely they should get the chance. But what you're talking about is the college football playoffs. The championship is one of the most watched sporting events in the country, and you're risking having people tune out after the first quarter by putting in a team without their starting
I think,
quarterback.
I
The
think
same
it should
thing
be
could
more about
happen.
the team.
The
I
same
don't
thing
think
could
that you can
happen.
say it's that bad. When like you
I
say,
don't
you say the
disagree.
first quarter, but they just won like 3 straight games with their backup and third string. So I don't see
Fair.
it being
I
a first
think-
quarter
I
extra.
think it should be
Fair,
more about
but
the
you don't
team and
see
less
it, but
about
they
the fans,
did.
what they want.
You didn't see it, but they did.
Because if
So
you're bringing
that's
in
the criteria
fans,
they put.
if you're bringing in the fans, then it takes away then it takes away from like if you're a kid at a lesser, if you're not at an SEC school and you're not at a Big Ten school, then it makes it like, well, why am I even playing the game?
Here's
Because the
personally
fans
how I
want to see
think.
these schools.
I think if Alabama's starting quarterback got hurt and Florida State was in Alabama's position, if the roles were reversed and they put Alabama in there because they said they should give them the chance, you guys would be outraged that they left a team in there with a hurt starting quarterback. If I'm being honest, I think it's
What?
more about the fact that they put Alabama in there than it is that they left Florida State out.
No,
I think
it's
My,
complete.
big-
No,
my
I think
biggest
100%
problem, my
think-
biggest
I
problem
100% think if it was
is
the
because
roles
I
reversed,
think it is-
you would
I really think that it's because Alabama is Alabama, and they're in the SEC.
be. Why
And
is
everyone
Alabama
knows
Alabama?
Because they're in the SEC. And
Because they're
everyone
one
knows-
of the best teams in college
No,
football.
no,
Other
not
years.
this
Other years.
Other years.
years.
But
We're talking about
because they're
this
in the
year,
SEC.
though.
'Cause
So who's better than
listen,
Alabama
because
other than
listen,
Florida State?
Ask me that. Let me ask you this: if Alabama and Florida State are in opposite positions, they're probably putting Alabama in.
That's what I'm saying. And you would be upset that they left Florida State out and they didn't put Alabama out
Well,
without
No,
a hurt starting
I don't
quarterback.
think I would be.
I
Because
think you
it-
would be
I don't-
100%.
No, I don't. I've never taken in injuries into my to where I cared. But they would put Alabama in because they're an SEC team and they have 0 losses.
If Michigan wasn't in the playoffs and you heard that the championship game was Florida State versus Texas, would you watch?
Yes.
If it was 15, if it was 21 to nothing
And I'm not just saying
after the
this
first
because-
quarter, would you watch?
I honestly would because I like college football that much.
Would you watch?
Yeah, I watched last
100%.
year's game. I watched Georgia TCU last
Would
year.
you?
Yeah, I feel like that's like too much of a.
I think
like,
that
What
you're-
if
yeah.
that happened
No.
last year?
Okay, but listen.
Yeah,
you're
okay,
putting
but
it,
How do you know it's going to happen this year?
you're putting it out there that Florida State is that bad.
I'm giving their.
But you're not
no,
giving them any chance
I'm
because
giving
every
them-
point
I'm
you bring up is
giving-
that
I
they're
don't
down
think-
21
I
nothing
don't
in the first
think-
quarter.
I'm giving the facts that the committee had to go over.
Their defense has been really good.
Their defense has been really good. TCU's offense was really good last year.
Did TCU
And-
have a backup quarterback in?
No.
Okay, then why is that even the comparison, though?
Because it's the same. Because it's the same
Because
idea.
it's who
If
they
they're
are,
an
right?
underdog.
SEC
Yeah, exactly.
And they're an underdog. If Michigan, you're saying SEC, but you would be,
But I'm saying
you would be
TCU is not
absolutely
good
fine
anymore.
with Michigan getting in because
Everyone
they're Michigan.
except for
TCU
Paul
you would be
Feinbaum.
fine.
Michigan
Everyone
would not
except
get in
for
because
Paul
you would be
Feinbaum, who's
fine.
an
Because it's
SEC
not
player.
like they just
record
are
this.
You would be
TCU is
fine
yeah.
if Michigan got in because they're Michigan over another team who wasn't
Well,
Michigan.
obviously, because I'm a Michigan fan.
Okay, so there are Alabama fans out there
And
who are
also-
totally
Okay, so
fine
you're
with
worried
it.
about Alabama fans to get them into the playoffs?
I'm worried about the 4 best teams in the. As a college committee member, I'm worried about the 4
I
best
don't
teams
think-
getting
Yeah,
into the
but
playoffs.
If you're saying that
And
about
that's-
Michigan,
the
I
whole-
don't think they would get in just because they're Michigan.
This
They
whole
would.
justifying.
I don't think so.
Absolutely,
This
they
whole
would.
justification,
No,
though.
because it's not like they're just Michigan. Or it's not
yeah,
yet that.
Michigan and Ohio State, Alabama and Georgia.
You
Wait,
don't
this-
understand how big Alabama is.
I understand it because I hear
That's
about them
why.
every year, and you know what gets me to watch games is Alabama going up against somebody else. Alabama versus this person. Alabama versus
Okay.
this person.
But
And
then
that's
it
what they're
takes
taking
away
into
the
consideration.
meaning of Florida State's games.
It does. Florida State has to be perfect to get in.
They
And if
were.
Literally
They
were.
lose their
were.
quarterback, then that's a shame, but that's how they're not getting in.
Yeah, but this
I'm
whole
not making
justification.
an argument saying
I know,
that I
but-
love Alabama and I hate Florida
You
State.
literally are.
Exactly.
No, but listen.
I'm saying,
The whole justification was because of TCU, right?
No, I'm saying.
No.
That's not the whole
Well,
justification.
why would they? What would they have to say? Well, we don't want that to happen again.
Yeah.
It's just TCU,
because
right?
they have a bad. They had.
It's
have
TCU,
Just
right?
listen to this.
TCU
Sure.
did not have an injured quarterback and have their backup quarterback in.
Correct.
That is not a fair comparison. It's not.
I think it
because
absolutely
the
is.
only
TCU?
comparison that's fair is that TCU and Florida State are smaller schools.
Sure.
That's the only. Okay.
Okay.
then that's,
And they have. And plus, what you're missing, what you guys are missing, what you guys are 100% missing, and I'll close with, and I won't say another word. What you guys are missing is, I don't think it's fair. They should be in a playoff. The next year they will be in. That's great. They should have a chance. But the way college football is set up is a selection committee.
That's why I said I want to hear what you think.
That's what I think.
Because
Is
you're
it-
coming
I am
from
based
how-
on a fact that.
do you agree with us?
That they should be in?
Yes.
Yes, they should have a chance
Okay,
to fight
but you
for
keep
it.
putting it out there that Alabama should be in because fans
if it's
wanna
a
see it.
selection committee that's picking it, I can't argue with their logic that they should be in. 100%.
All right, Jeff's showing us the time
Can we
frame
move
right
on?
now. Let's.
Yeah, let's move on.
Because
We
I'm
agree.
tired of this.
We agree. Florida State should be in.
Sure. Florida State should be in.
Okay.
Sure.
By
Next
the way,
year
this
they
Michigan
will
is
be.
the number one
Garbage.
team in the country.
Next year
Fucking
they will be.
excited about that.
Let's
Can you
do this.
imagine? Can you imagine the podcast after Texas beats
Oh my
Michigan in the
gosh.
championship game?
He won't do it. It's gonna be me and Jim. I'm gonna wearing all my Michigan gear.
Quinn Ewers might be
Let's
hurt
do
for
this
like the
last
8th
section,
time this year by
segment
then.
quick.
This is our last section.
Jim, number one.
No. What?
No, start from
Start
four.
from number
Each
four.
person
Start
says
from-
it.
Wait,
Each
what
person
for?
says
Go
we're
it.
doing
like 3,
Start
1,
from-
All right,
2,
so
4.
the
Hold on.
sports
I need
are.
to get a picture of the NBA.
Wait, are we going like literally what they look
Yo,
like?
you know what
I was
my
going
dad
by what
said?
you wanted to
You
watch.
know what my dad said?
No, the
No,
coolest
the trophies.
Well,
Oh, okay.
you know what my dad said?
Huh?
Like, don't forget the NBA Cup.
No, that doesn't count.
We don't have enough time to talk about the in-season tournament celebration.
Dude, they use champagne for an NBA Cup, which I'm a fan of the NBA in-season tournament. It's better than just a normal in-season.
celebrating a little bit too much.
Obviously. But
That's
it's
what I'm
better.
saying.
Like, I asked my dad, I'm like, would you rather it just be a regular season Lakers-Pacers game or have some excitement to it? Because I'd prefer the excitement.
A Larry O.B.
Okay,
All right, we're
so
ready.
listen, NBA trophy is the Larry O'Brien trophy.
Yes.
Then we have the World Series trophy. Then we have the Stanley Cup, Lord Stanley, and we have the Vince Lombardi trophy. Jacob,
Jake.
fourth.
Number
four.
four.
4.
Let's just get each person go around, give their four, and then
The Larry O.B.
Jim.
Honestly, I'm not a fan of the World Series trophy. I think
All right.
that's 4. I
That
don't
is
like
so-
it.
I'm gonna go Larry O'Brien.
Larry O'Brien.
All right, 3,
That's
Jake.
easily the worst. It's very easy for me.
Yeah,
I'll come
I
back.
have
I'll
my
come
fault.
back.
Same.
We'll go.
Yeah.
Super Bowl was 3 easily.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
100% agree.
3,
Yeah.
number 3.
The
Are we
Vince
all
Lombardi
gonna have
trophy
the
is
same-
number 3.
'Cause It's
Yes.
definitely
No,
either
because-
the Super Bowl or the baseball one.
Which one's 3
And
for
I-
you?
The Super Bowl.
So
so
all of us are going Vince Lombardi
At 3.
at 3.
Yeah.
But yours is different because you put World Series
All
at
right,
4.
2 and 1. 2 and 1 now. Jake, start us off with 2. You're
Well,
number
I'll
2
say
and you're number 1.
1.
All right,
No.
number 1.
No, just say 2.
Yeah,
Just go
say
with
two.
what
Number
we're
2 and
doing.
number 1.
Okay, 2 is the World Series,
Okay, and number 1 is
the Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup. Jim?
It's the Larry O'Brien and then the Stanley Cup.
Larry O'Brien is your number 2.
This is my number 2.
Bro, that is such a weird trophy. to
Okay.
be honest.
I'm going World Series, Stanley Cup. Number 2 and number 1.
I have a very hard debate with this because I love the World Series flags, like the pennants on it, and it's so cool.
loses me.
Okay, yeah.
But the Stanley Cup is just so big, and it's got such a
You know
cool
why?
shape to it.
You know why the Stanley
It's
Cup
like-
is number 1? Because it's easily the most put out there.
Well-deserved.
Yes.
It's the most put out there, and it's like
The most interactive.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the
Exactly.
Stanley
It's
Cup
more
is
than
my number
just-
1.
it's more than
World
just what it
Series is
looks
2.
like.
I'll give my reasoning is the World Series trophy to me, I just don't get anything from it. I don't know why.
Really,
I
I
just
feel
don't
that
love
way
it.
about
eh,
the Super Bowl.
like-
It's like, what?
I
even
feel that
is
way
it?
about the Larry O'Brien
Well, I
trophy.
was just
Yeah.
gonna say, Larry O'Brien's even
Yeah,
worse.
both of them are just like
Yeah.
a random shape and then a basketball or football. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the World Series, you
And
have
the
all
Stanley
the
Cup
pennants and
has
stuff.
all the names on
The
it.
thing
Like,
with
that's
yeah,
insane.
yes. And the Stanley Cup, the thing is too is like if they ran around the stadium holding the trophy, then okay. But like they skate around and hand it off, and it's like an emotion.
Yeah.
Like there's no way that the Stanley Cup ceremony and it's just being the
It's-
Stanley Cup, and it's Lord Stanley's Cup.
Just talking about the championship in general,
Yes.
it's probably the celebration is probably the Stanley Cup.
My thing, like
right?
throwing off the
I
gloves
was just
and all
gonna
that,
say,
and like
you can
I mean-
tackle in MLB and like dog pile. I think the throwing of sticks and throwing
like the
NHL,
Super
yeah.
Bowl, the Super Bowl is pretty cool. Just like the post game
the
and
game
like
is bigger. The Super Bowl game.
yeah.
is
If we're
bigger.
talking games, it's
Yeah,
pretty
well, could have
easily.
just gone one game.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, games. Go.
Games?
Give me 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Obviously,
Go.
NBA is number 4.
right.
Obviously, that
Hurry,
sucks.
go. Fast,
NBA?
fast.
Obviously, World
3.
Series is 3.
2.
NHL game. Well, we're going game 7s or just playoff format.
Yes, game
Championship
7.
game.
Game
2.
7s. NHL is number 2.
And then number 1.
World Super Bowl.
All right, go. 4,
Basketball.
3. 3, 3, 3. Go. 3, 2, 1. Ready, set, go. Now.
MLB.
2,
NHL.
1.
Football.
Okay.
You
4.
go, because I'm still
Wait,
struggling.
Okay,
have
someone
the
say it
same?
to me. Someone say it to
Okay,
me.
4,
World Series,
Third.
Stanley Cup,
2,
NBA,
1.
Super Bowl.
Okay,
That's
I might
easy
be the
for me.
same with you.
Ooh.
That's
Really?
easy for me.
The
Now
NBA?
listen, I love NBA Game 7,
Right.
but hockey Game 7 is amazing.
Yes, that's true. But you,
But then, like, Super Bowl
you
is
don't
one
know.
game.
Yeah.
Super Bowl is one game.
Super
Like,
Bowl's
I might have
one
to
game.
put
Super
World
Bowl's
Series.
undefeated.
I might have to put World Series at 4.
You know what would really?
It's not as exciting.
I just don't like the NBA as much. So like basketball itself to me is kind of like So like their last game doesn't
I'll
mean
go like
anything
this.
to me.
I'll put MLB at 4 just because there's less like going on the whole time.
Yeah.
NBA and NHL will be 3 and 2, just depending
Yeah.
on what season I'm in, because
Yeah.
that matters to me. And then I guess Super Bowl 1 just because it's one game.
You know what would make the Super Bowl like far and beyond better than any other championship is if they had ticket prices the same price that they are in season. And
Yeah,
the
that's
people
what-
that could go are legitimate
fans.
hardcore
Yeah,
fans
that's
and
the
not
knock.
people that are
100%.
making 100 plus K a year and those are the
Yeah.
only ones that can afford to go because the crowd is pretty lame
Yes.
at the Super
Yes.
Bowl.
Think about like
And
the
the
World
crowd
Series.
has so much effect on the game.
Think about
Yeah.
the World Series,
Like,
like
Like
the
that's why
Phillies.
Stanley Cup is
I was
unbelievable.
just gonna say, hockey crowds in
Yeah,
Even
in the playoffs,
NBA crowds
and the
in Game 7.
intensity,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
the NBA
intensity that
crazy.
the players
Moderator
play
Jeff
with
has a point.
That's
is
one
insane.
thing I don't like about the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Different locations,
Yep.
but then the fans are fake.
That's the
Yeah.
only thing
Like, can we have
that
it the
keeps it
seed?
close.
Keep it make
Before-
it
Like the NBA Finals is absurd.
Before
Like
we
it's
Yeah.
unreal, especially
Yeah.
when it's in like
Yes.
Golden State or Boston.
Yeah, I think
Or
though,
Philly, if
you-
that ever
you know
happens.
what, you know,
I
you
know.
know what
Gosh.
gives me, I think the point over where NBA is 4, the MLB is 3, and NHL is. If we're just going there, like NHL is 1, because, and honestly, the NFL too is the points it's the points that matter. You know what I mean? Like in hockey, every single goal
Yes.
matters.
It's
in the NBA,
crazy.
it's a little bit hard to be
Yeah.
like. Not every basket, like
know.
when you
But,
get
like,
later in the game,
yes, it
those
is so
threes
true.
matter.
It's
But for the whole game, like
That-
a goal is like holy crap. In the MMA, it has to be a home run for it to be
I
like
love
holy crap.
hockey
Also-
because the game's not over in the last 2 minutes, like NBA
yes.
and NFL.
It's almost
Okay, but
true.
basketball, when it's like neck and neck,
Yeah.
even in the fourth quarter, the entire fourth quarter is LeBron versus Steph, just bucket after
That
bucket.
is one I will give
It
that
is
that I can
amazing.
say that is one that I
It
would
is
put
crazy.
that makes me think like okay like the
star
Cavs-
power.
the Cavs and Golden State Warriors, those finals were amazing.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
know,
Like
everyone
one-
hated that it was just those two. Like, dude,
I
it was
know,
the
it's so
best.
great.
I
It was
know.
the best.
Yeah, but
I'm
like,
glad the committee decided to put them in
I know.
because it
Yo,
would definitely
Dude,
made higher
actually, let's
ratings.
do that because I get very mad about this decision.
I listen,
Final point, Jake. Did you
listen,
have a final point?
No,
Listen, no, I have a
I was
final
gonna
point
say
before we end.
it's like LeBron with carrying all his trash players, but it was Jordan Travis was the one that's down, and he's not still
So
carrying
before
his.
we end,
True.
a report just came out. It says in an unprecedented move, Shohei will defer his payments till after his contract is up, so the Dodgers can build the roster around him. The CBA allows for this. Shohei will. It's not true. Shohei will earn $2 million per year in his 10-year deal.
Can you imagine?
Chooses to defer $68 million per year, but
That's
will
great.
get paid the remainder of his deal from 2034 to 2040.
Oh, I was gonna
That'd be
say.
crazy.
All right, I really got to use the bathroom, so let's wrap this up.
Wrap it
James.
up real fast. College football playoff committee is trash and garbage.
Dude.
The only thing I will say is
Complete
that I
garbage.
just I agree with the decision they made this year. Is it fair? No. Do I like it? No. But do I think it's kind of like I can see their argument 100%.
So we're all in agreement. It's going to end up being Michigan and Texas. in the
Yes.
final?
And Michigan's gonna trample
yes.
Bama.
No.
Yes. Also,
It's going to be close.
Dude,
thank you
I'm
everybody.
ecstatic that we're number one in the country, but I do honestly fear Alabama a little bit.
More than Florida State. Anyway, thank you for getting our football challenge video to 1,000
Yeah.
views.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. And our last podcast, 830. That is nothing to sneeze at based on our other podcast. So again,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Remember to comment, like, subscribe. It's
Yes.
free. A lot of people think that subscribing means that you're like paying
Paying?
monthly.
It is free.
It's not. It's free. I wrote it in our
Yes.
But if
banner
you do
above.
want to pay, I mean, I'm not.
yeah,
it's up
I'm
to
not-
you.
Also,
Yeah.
speaking of paying, we have
Hats. We
Hats?
officially have hats.
Dude, do the brush.
Ian has
Go
a
stand in
shirt.
front of the camera. Show 'em.
Dude,
These
Show them your hat.
are not available right now,
Show them the hat.
These are
but
I
but
have
eventually they will be. So look at us. Don't be envious because we don't want people to be envious.
them.
Yeah.
But want one, and then eventually you will be
You know
able
what?
to order one.
You can
Yeah,
you
you
can
can be
comment
like- you can
and
be
let
like
us
me.
know. Direct message us. Let us know. Hey,
How
I really
much-
want a hat.
yes.
How can I get one? And we'll get you one. We promise.
You
We'll
can be
try.
like me.
Our
You
best.
want one, but you'll get it later.
Yes.
And
Thank you for watching, everybody. Catch you next episode. Woo! Ian, we have to give
Do
a high
it.
five
You guys
so
have
people
to
know that
shake.
we're still friends.
Yes, they're still friends.
Yeah.